Good morning. I will now call to order the April 14, 2022 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please take the roll?
Yes, Chair Smith. First, our staff support today. Tony Mayernick, Clerk to the Board. Stephen Madicor, County Counsel. Commissioner Savas is not here today. He is at the Metro Council meeting testifying against tolling I-205. Roll call. Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Commissioner Shull.
Here.
Chair Smith.
Here. I will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, and welcome. We are holding this meeting both in person and virtually. The board has a very important engagement. We have a State of the County luncheon where we'll be giving a report on the last year. So we're going to try to, my commissioners, including myself, have agreed to be brief in our comments so we can hear from you. So we're going to try to get out of here about 11:30. General public comment will be taken at the usual time on the agenda. The public is welcome to sign up to testify. Please use the blue cards at the table in the basket, and staff will pick them up throughout the meeting. Registration for public comment via Zoom is available online. We will prompt you regarding how to do that when the time is right. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, all elected officials, and members of the public that Robert's Rules of Order will be enforced in this business meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite participation. Gary, can you introduce the first item, please?
Yes, Chair Smith. First item today is a presentation, and it is a proclamation declaring April 10 to 16, 2022 as the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Clackamas County. Cheryl Bledsoe is the director of our county's Central Communications, or we call it CCOM, which is our 911 center, and she's brought some guests. Cheryl, would you introduce your guest, and please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. It is my pleasure to bring National Telecommunicator Week to you in this year of 2022. To my right, you see one of our dispatch trainees, Shyla Fedderson, and to my left, you'll see our Administrative Assistant, Megan Neese, and our Training Quality Assurance Coordinator, Katie Alexander. For this past year, we'll keep it brief, but CCOM, your 911 agency here, one of two 911 agencies here in Clackamas County, answered approximately 273,260 calls from residents throughout our jurisdiction for both emergency and non-emergency situations. This call volume was approximately 10,000 less than the previous year, but we didn't have the wildfire or the ice storm that we had experienced in the year prior. We did, however, see a 6% increase in our fire calls for service, with 603 additional fire incidents, and an 18.4% increase in calls for emergency medical service, with an additional 4,984 EMS incidents throughout Clackamas County, throughout CCOM's jurisdiction. We represent about 50 employees here in Clackamas County who work tirelessly 24/7 and really who deal with all sorts of trauma and whatever comes in on the phone. Often we don't get the end of the story, but these folks who work alongside me are just heroes every day. So thank you for honoring them today with this proclamation.
Thank you. Do you wish to say anything? Either one of you? You're just eye candy today? Okay, we'll take it. Do my commissioners have any comments or questions regarding this proclamation? Commissioner Shull.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to all the people from CCOM, their hard work. I know it's a difficult job, but it's appreciated by me and people of Clackamas County very much. Thank you.
Oh, we do too. You know, I've toured your facility, and it is really demanding work. I think you told me once, a couple months ago, for every 100 applicants that get hired and trained, 1% make it. Is that correct, Cheryl?
1% of those who apply actually come into training.
1% of those who apply. And so you can understand the skill set that's needed, and then you have to be able to listen to all that all day long. And my hat's off to you folks. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't get past first base, I know that. And but this is a very special skill set, and you're always looking for people, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, we're always looking to hire in that, and if you want to have some good public service out there, folks, this might be a place for you. In fact, I went to high school. I said I'd be brief. Okay, now. Yes, I just want to say how wonderful you are. Okay, now, I will entertain a motion.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the proclaiming April 10th through the 16th, 2022 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Clackamas County.
Second.
Commissioner Fisher has moved to approve the proclamation, and Commissioner Schrader has seconded that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, please call the poll.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much for coming forward on this.
Chair Smith, may I read it?
Yes, of course, it's in my script. Please
Yes.
read it.
Proclaiming April 10th to the 16th, 2022 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Clackamas County. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services within Clackamas County, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, and whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from residents who call Clackamas County 911 communications, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our residents have with emergency services, and whereas public safety telecommunicators of Clackamas County provide life-saving information, deliver babies, and provide CPR instructions to bystanders who may have never been trained, and whereas each employee has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job, and whereas these past 2 years have provided significant challenges as 911 employees have provided consistent services despite increased stress both personally and professionally due to world events and the challenge of employee retention due to the stressful nature of the work and population shifts. Now, therefore, it is hereby proclaimed that the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners declares April 10th through 16th, 2022 to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Clackamas County in honor of the first responders whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and residents safe. We encourage all residents to join us in celebrating the commitment and courage that 911 call takers, dispatchers, and support staff exhibit daily in their service to the residents of Clackamas County, dated this 14th day of April 2022 from this Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we're all very appreciative of the beautiful people who serve this service for our citizens.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher, for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Gary, what's next?
All right, next, Chair, is a public hearing, a consideration of a preliminary order 2022-32 to form a joint water and sanitary authority to be known as the Oak Lodge Water Services Authority. This is a public hearing. Jeff Munns, Assistant County Counsel, will present along with representatives of the Oak Lodge Water Services District. Please all come forward, and we'll do that right now. Go ahead, please, Jeff. And Jeff, if you'll introduce our guest, please, Jeff.
All right, thank you, and good morning, Commissioners. We are here talking about the request from the Oak Lodge Water Services District to reform itself as an authority. We have had several discussions on this in the past, the discussion in February, and then in March 10th, we had the consideration of a board order to initiate this process. So what we have today is a public hearing to consider public comment and to hear from representatives from Oak Lodge Water Services about this request and how it benefits their district to become an authority. You have a packet that was provided by Oak Lodge which talks about the criteria you are to consider under the statute, which is ORS 198-805. And the process to get here, we already talked about what we've gone through so far with the order to initiate the process. That was Board Order 2022-19. Today you have a preliminary order that for your consideration, which if approved would set another public hearing, a second public hearing, and would create the new authority unless 100 requests for an election are received by the time of this second public hearing. And so this preliminary order you have before you today, and after consideration of the public comment and the presentation from Oak Lodge, you can approve, modify, or reject this preliminary order. But if you do approve it, like I say, it sets up a second public hearing, and that would be 20 to 50 days from the close of this public hearing. And at that time, you would determine if you did receive enough requests for an election. If you did receive 100 requests for an election on this issue, the matter would be referred to the ballot to decide whether or not to form this authority, and positions for the new board would be on the ballot as well. If you do not receive enough requests for an election, just the question of the board members would be on the ballot, and the district would then be, or I'm sorry, the authority would be formed, and just the positions would be on the ballot. This process comes to us, like I say, from the request from Oak Lodge, and then it was formed by this order by the board, as opposed to a petition, which you've seen in other circumstances like this, not a petition of the members of the district, but rather it comes from the district itself under ORS 198-835. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, I turn it over to the folks from Oak Lodge to talk about how this benefits their district to become an authority.
Does any of our commissioners have questions for council right now? Seeing none, please go ahead. Introduce yourselves.
Good morning, Chair Smith and Commissioners. Thank you for having us back again today. We've been here a few times.
Can you please introduce your name and who
Oh.
you represent?
Do you want my address too?
No.
No? Jenny Van Loo, Oak Lodge Water Services District Director. Sorry.
That's all right.
And this is Susan Keel, our board president. Okay, so we've been here a few times since last October, when we first shared with you our board's desire to have Oak Lodge Water Services convert from a consolidated water and sanitary district to a joint water and sanitary authority. And that's really tough to say. Even though the county has a statutory role in the process, this is an Oak Lodge Water Services-driven effort because our board believes it's what's best for our customers. As mentioned before, we already have support from the City of Milwaukee and the City of Gladstone, which you can see from the resolutions that are in your packet, and as required by the state statute for becoming an authority. Reaching out to surrounding partners was an important step in this process, which happened early on. I want to mention our commitments to our customers. Oak Lodge Water Services provides essential water services to our community. We are committed to protecting public health, providing excellent customer service, making smart investments, and working to keep rates affordable, as well as keeping our rivers and our streams clean. These commitments are and will continue to be the core of everything we do. And now I would like to introduce to you our board president, Susan Keel.
Welcome, Susan.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you in person, frankly. I'm
Yes.
pleased about that. I'd like to speak directly to our customers who are here, since this is a hearing. Thank you for being here, customers. You may have heard about the authority in a variety of ways: customer mailings, our website, information on Facebook and Twitter, our customer newsletter. We've made presentations to the Oak Grove Community Council and the Jennings Lodge CPO, and we've had articles in the Clackamas Review. We considered becoming an authority back in 2017 when we joined the sewer and water agencies. And since 2017, we have been considering this topic. We've been one district providing 3 services. We deliver safe and reliable drinking water from the Clackamas River. We collect wastewater from homes and businesses, treat it, and return it to the Willamette River. And we also protect the water quality of receiving streams within our area. After we consolidated, we heard customers tell us that they wanted to pursue this authority, the Joint Authority for the Water and Sanitary Agency, which would solidify the district's boundaries. And so we started talking about it in more detail. We have a map of our boundary, I think, that is showing up in front of you, because that actually is one of the questions people had asked about, exactly where was the boundary. So I thought it was useful to give that to you. The district serves mostly unincorporated area in Clackamas County, Oak Grove and Jennings Lodge, with some overlap into Milwaukee and Gladstone because water runs downhill. So what would this mean for customers? The change would solidify the district's boundary and benefit customers through increased protection of infrastructure investments. Becoming an authority adds certainty about the revenue base, essential for planning those long-term investments in infrastructure. And that stability lowers investment risks and financing costs. And frankly, having a locally elected board means our customers will continue to have reliable water services at affordable rates based on the cost of service. Our board is elected and serves on a volunteer basis. We're about 20 hours a week right now. Like our customers, we live in the community and receive services from Oak Lodge. One thing that has really resonated with community members is our commitment to preserving the infrastructure investments they have paid for and better positioning ourselves to make future investments in our future systems, in our other systems. Our operation would stay the same. We'd be providing the same services to the same customers with the same staff. And one of the questions we've been asked is, why do this now? Well, we've recently finished our water system master plan. We're in the middle of our sewer system master plan. Those plans make certain assumptions about our service territory and the number of customers that we'll have, relative. The time to ensure a stable revenue structure is at the front end of those plans, not down the road somewhere. As I mentioned to the commissioners before, we have large capital improvement projects for our wastewater system that have to be done right now. We'll be making large capital investments based on our water system master plan that we just finished. The benefits to customers of the authority are stability of customer base and the areas served for capital planning, and clarity about the revenue stream to fund and pay for those necessary capital improvements. In effect, the certainty provided by the authority will lower borrowing costs for large capital projects which cannot generally be funded out of annual rate revenue. So you need to borrow to offset some of that. Becoming an authority will ensure that the benefit of those investments stay with the customers who funded them in the past and on a go-forward basis. In our public outreach in the last year, we've communicated the benefits of becoming an authority to our customers, and we've asked for their feedback. We believe that the majority of the community backs this effort, and that's why we, as their elected board, have continued to pursue it. Our outreach to customers is going to continue throughout this process. We'll let them know about the next hearing on this matter. Specifically, we're asking you today to consider the proposal detailed in the authority formation packet and to adopt the preliminary findings in the packet. We're asking for the second public hearing to be scheduled on May 5th. As the public hearing continues, we're happy to answer any questions that customers might have or any of you might have as well. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Do the commissioners have any questions or comments for the presenters? Yes, Commissioner Shaw.
Ladies, I've read your documentation, and I appreciate all the work you've done. This has been a big job, and wow, it's very impressive, the work you've done. And I look forward to this motion today. Thank you.
Actually, we've had quite a bit of help. They're sitting behind us back here, so.
Yes, no doubt, no doubt.
You have a lot of support. With that in mind, I will now open a public hearing on this topic and take the blue cards in the room first, and then we'll go online. And there is somebody here who wants to testify on this, and that's Thelma Hagenmiller.
Should we step back?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Thelma, please come forward. State your name, area of residence, and you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Smith and Commissioners and Administrator Schmidt. My name is Thelma Hagenmiller. I reside in the unincorporated area of Clackamas County, known as Oak Grove. I am here today to speak in favor of allowing Oak Lodge Water Services to move forward with the process of becoming an authority. What our OLWS board and staff can't say, I'm going to say. In early 2020, I was made aware of the Metro grant that the Oak Lodge Governance Project group had received. The grant was to, once again, study the possibility of annexation or incorporation of a part or all of the Oak Grove area. 10 years earlier, during the previous incorporation study, I became aware of what such a change in governance of our area would mean to our water sewer services. I publicly went before the Board of Directors of Oak Lodge Water Services in January of 2020 and requested them to seriously investigate the process of becoming an authority. I knew that was the only way to protect our assets, territory, and future operations from any changes in the area's governance. Members of the Oak Lodge Governance Project Group should also be here supporting this authority process because it would allow the governance project to proceed unhindered by any threat to our water sewer services and infrastructure. Now, my next comment is to the audience. Please raise your hand if you are here to support the Oak Lodge Water Services process to change from a district to an authority. You've seen the support. Thank you.
Very good, Thelma.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and giving us a vote of the members in the audience. Are there any other blue cards submitted who would like to speak on this issue? Seeing none, Tony, do we have anybody online?
Chair Smith, I have a few registered participants. If anyone is on Zoom but did not have a chance to register ahead of time and would like to testify, please use the raise hand feature to indicate you would like to speak. I will call on registered participants first, followed by those with raised hands. I will start with Neil Schulman. Please introduce yourself, your name and area of residence. You will have 3 minutes.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. My name is Neil Schulman. I am the Executive Director of the North Clackamas Watersheds Council, located on Lake Road, 2416 Southeast Lake Road in Milwaukee. So to Chair Smith and the commissioners, we are testifying in support of the transition of Oak Lodge Water Services to an authority. We partner with the district on watershed restoration and environmental planning to keep our streams healthy for future residents of the district and of Clackamas County as a whole. And we recognize that as the area's population is growing rapidly, there are increased pressures on our stream and stormwater and sewer systems, and that comes in a variety of forms, from just the sheer number of people who might be putting chemicals on their lawns or have cars that might leak a little bit of oil or brake fluid here and there, and that accumulates in the form of road runoff. And as you have probably all read in the news over the last year or so, untreated road runoff is invariably lethal to salmon and steelhead population. And the more of us there are, and we all drive cars and park in parking lots, the more it takes to manage that stormwater. The role that Oak Lodge Water Services plays is critical, both as a water protection agency and in its partnership with Clackamas County DTD in managing runoff from roads. And they will only be able to do that work with a stable boundary and the ability to plan. And We therefore strongly support this transition, and we urge the County Board of Commissioners to move forward as much as possible. It's my understanding that there has been some discussion of delaying this decision until the Oak Lodge and the Clackamas County DTD kind of further determine their roles in the issues related to Clackamas County roads. That would be a mistake, because the ability to clarify those roles will only be possible when the district has secure boundaries that allow for a stable environment to do coherent planning. And that conversion to the authority will make that discussion much more straightforward and productive. The future of North Clackamas County will rest in significant part, I believe, on the extent to which we can integrate our growing communities with healthy streams, and this transition is a critical part of making that possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Tony.
Tom Hammond, please introduce yourself and your area of residence. You have 3 minutes. Mr. Hammond, you're muted, and I am unable to unmute you, I should say.
I'm Tom Hammond. I live on southeast Viewcrest Drive in the Oak Grove area, and we enjoy this community quite well.
Tom, have you accidentally muted yourself? We can't hear you.
I unmuted. Do you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Tom. Would you like to
Okay.
continue with your testimony, please?
I have no real testimony other than we enjoy our relationship with the Oak Lodge Water Services.
Okay.
They provide a nice activity for us, and we enjoy the area as all of our neighbors do. We live in the Oak Grove area off of Thiessen on Viewcrest Drive.
Thank you very much for calling in today. Up next, Tony.
Next is Richard Nippon. Please state your name and area of residence.
My name is Richard Nippon. I live in Oak Grove. I am in favor of the Oak Lodge Water Service becoming an authority. I believe this will protect myself and others from the possibility of losing ratepayers but retaining the debt and expenses, resulting in an increase in cost to each customer. I believe the Oak Lodge Water Service has been well run and well managed. I don't foresee any change to that resulting from a change to an authority. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next, Tony.
Next is Laura Westmeyer. Please state your name and area of residence. Laura, I am unable to unmute you.
Hi, I'm Laura Westmeyer. I live in Portland, Oregon. I actually didn't intend to submit a public comment today. I just registered to be able to attend the meeting. I apologize for that.
Okay. Anybody else, Tony?
I do not have anyone else at the moment, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I will now close the public hearing on this matter and will welcome any questions or comments from commissioners. I'll entertain a motion.
I move for approval of preliminary order 2022-32 to form a joint water and sanitary authority.
Second.
Commissioner Scholl has moved for approval of a preliminary order to move ahead on the sanitary authority, and Commissioner Fisher has seconded that. Any further discussion from our board on this? Hearing none, Tony, please call the poll.
Commissioner Scholl?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. For the record, the next public hearing on this issue is scheduled for May 5th, 2022. Thank you all for coming, supporting this, and thank you all for your very hard work.
Thank you.
You bet. Gary, what's up next?
Thank you, Chair. Next is the consent agenda. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda? One moment, please.
Apologies, wanted to get that pulled up. The consent agenda this morning includes a few items. The first is Central Communications approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Metropolitan Area Joint Computer-Aided Dispatch System for regional tech support for 900 computer-aided dispatch services. Total value is $75,000, funded through 911 Clackamas in 911 agencies in Clackamas, Washington, and Columbia counties, with the Clackamas portion of $22,342 annually being paid through a combination of 911 tax and public safety user agency funds. No county general agency funds are involved. Next, I have Community Corrections, approval to submit an application for a time extension and additional funding through the next Improving People's Access to Community-Based Treatment, Supports, and Services program cycle of July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2024. The additional time and funding will allow Community Corrections to continue and expand the existing program. Total grant value is $823,172, funded through State Criminal Justice Commission. No county general funds are involved. Health, Housing, and Human Services, approval of the proposed 2022 to 2027 Assessment of Fair Housing Plan and authorization to submit to U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to permit continued receipt of HUD general grants. Total grant value is estimated at $303,452,609, funded through U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. No county general funds are involved. Elected officials, approval of Board of County Commissioners' previous meeting minutes for March 17th, March 24th, March 31st, and April 7th, 2022. This is for the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Tony. Does any commissioner wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Commissioner Schrader has moved for approval of the consent agenda, and Commissioner Fisher has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, please take the poll.
Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much. Up next is public communication. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon Revised Statutes and County Code. Comment shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as part of the public record. However, we will not be reading them at the business meeting due to time constraints. I will now open the meeting for public testimony, and I will take in-person testimony first. I have no blue cards presently. Is there anybody in the room who would like to testify? Seeing none. Tony, do we have folks online who would wish to speak?
Madam Chair, I have one, Marilyn Starr. Marilyn, please, Marlene, apologies, please state your name and area of residence.
Hi, thank you. My name is Marlene Starr, and I live just off Stafford in the Mossy Bray area. My comment is, I don't understand why the Board of County Commissioners would pay almost $10 million for a library in Gladstone and another library in unincorporated Oak Lodge for $20 million when they already have one. When there are so many other pressing needs for the county, like supporting public safety, removing abandoned RVs, the homeless, drugs, and other crimes. Is Gladstone and Oak Grove contributing any money? Not that I can see. Besides that, libraries are quickly becoming obsolete as our young people use the internet for research or Amazon to buy Kindle books. Even the current library system has books on loan via the internet. Paying for a new multi-million-dollar libraries is a waste of taxpayers' money, and the Board of County Commissioners should reconsider this bad idea. From what I can tell, there is only one commissioner pushing this bad idea, and that's Paul Savas. Is he so desperate to get reelected in his neighborhood that he would put the county budget in jeopardy? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Up next, Tony.
Madam Chair, I do not have anyone else registered at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. I will now close the public comment portion of this meeting. Gary, what's up next for administrator updates?
Next is administrator update. I will hold on my good news, but there is one piece of business to bring to you today, commissioners, and it is a 11th hour request. I apologize for that, but I'll explain what it is. So you have a paper copy in front of you at your desk, and we will post it online, but we didn't have time to do that before this meeting. So I'm going to ask Tom Riggs to come forward too, Tom, just in case. So this is a request for our Business and Community Services Department, our Forestry Division. There is a logging effort on county forest land that is scheduled to start tomorrow, Friday, in Eagle Fern Park. To do this, though, we are using land owned by Weyerhaeuser, and we also need a road helicopter use permit with Weyerhaeuser. This permit will allow the county to use the Weyerhaeuser land, which is on this property, for our contracted helicopter logger to drop logs pulled from the park onto Weyerhaeuser's landing site near the park, and then for our log hauler to load the logs onto a truck and drive them out via Weyerhaeuser-owned roads. So if you approve it today, this is a use permit that only you can sign. I can't, or nor should. Our staff did everything right, and Weyerhaeuser delayed this until yesterday, 2 days before this project was to start. Frankly, I'm not pleased with that. And I'm okay if you want to just postpone this entirely, Commissioners, since you're getting this at the 11th hour. However, if you do wish to go forward, this is something only you can approve, and it is for something that's occurring tomorrow. Tom Riggs is a Parks Manager. Do you want to add anything to what I said and for points of clarification?
Yeah, just to note that Weyerhaeuser all along had told us, yes, you can use our landing. It's the closest landing to Eagle Fern Park. It was just a delay in getting the paperwork actually to us. And also to clarify that this is salvage from last January's windstorm blowdown, not logging, like commercial logging, because we don't do that in our county parks. We do that on our forest land. So this is a salvage effort to remove down trees that are blocking trails and preventing reforestation, that kind of thing.
Commissioner Fisher wants to speak on this, but if you don't mind, I have a couple points of clarification. Yeah. Stephen Madcore, you have reviewed this contract, correct? Would you like to comment on it?
Yes, Chair, the office has reviewed the contract. We also gave it to risk management to take a look at the insurance provisions, and we're generally fine with it concerning the fact that it is last minute and our bargaining power with Weyerhaeuser would be de minimis anyway at this juncture. But so we support it. We have no objection to moving forward with this, nor did risk management. We have the adequate insurance in place.
So a question, if we were to delay this, there's already been a scheduled helicopter operation. You just don't get those easy. They're in demand all over the place. I, above anybody, does not like last-minute contracts. But I do feel because of the importance of this work, getting this down timber out of the woods, because there is a time limit. It only lasts for a couple years, and then it's bug infested, and there's no commercial value left to it. I am sure it was difficult to get a logging helicopter up there because it's probably not a very big job. How many board feet do you think is being hauled out by helicopter?
I forget the board feet. I believe it's going to be 3 hours of lifting with an estimated 2.5-minute round trip, so that many trips.
So this is a very small amount, and even if we can, just speaking from experience, we used to be in the biz. If we were to delay this, Gary, I'm concerned that we might not get it scheduled in time. I don't know. I really don't know that, but that's my concern. We have two other commissioners that can make a comment. Commissioner Fisher, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Smith. You were somewhat alluding to the question that I have, that what is the consequence of delaying?
We have a contract in place with Columbia Helicopters that I'm not sure at this point what the consequence of delaying that work would be. They are queued up and mobilizing to the site. They have everything prepped. We've got logger scheduled with a loader and trucks for hauling out. So there's a lot of moving pieces that we've put into place with the assurance from Weyerhaeuser that this was a go. It was just, again, the paperwork delay in getting the actual document to sign.
And what is the public policy reason for requiring the permit?
There's no real public policy associated with it. It's just out of necessity and convenience. If you look at it, it's to have helicopters land and remove, as opposed to having skidders or other haulers use Weyerhaeuser's land or road for it, because we have access to their road and to their helicopter pad too. So it's for convenience of the removal of the salvage timber.
Yep.
Okay. Stephen, you're talking Greek to me. I'm sorry. So usually when there's a permit, there is some environmental consequence that requires a permit. So I'm interested. This is really interesting, actually. I'm fascinated that we're doing this. I'm very excited that we're looking to remove and salvage what was there from was it from the fires or the ice storms?
It
Or
was
both?
actually between the two. It was
Okay.
a windstorm that happened
From our
after
weather
the fires,
events.
before the ice storm, yes.
But I am concerned that these are important, it's not just this, but it's a much bigger picture. So if I could have that understanding as to what was the reason for the permit, is it required by a state agency, and what's the rationale for requiring it, that could help me have a better understanding.
It is permission for us to go on to Weyerhaeuser land.
And it's required by the state of Oregon?
It's required by Weyerhaeuser because they own the land.
So it's just required by Weyerhaeuser. This is Weyerhaeuser just saying, this
Just
isn't a
granting us temporary
government
access.
regulation.
That is correct. They're giving us access to their land. We get to use their roads. We get to use their helicopter pads for zero for the next 15 days. It starts tomorrow. It expires on the 30th. So we're having trucks, we're having helicopters, we're having chainsaws go up there free of charge to use their land, not disturb it, not damage it. And if we do damage it, we're responsible for restoring it. But they're giving us access to the roads and the helicopter pad for free. So it's actually value-wise, it's a good deal for the county. But it doesn't involve the state. It's just like a temporary easement is how I would describe it, to have access over private property at no charge to the county to extract salvage timber that was damaged during the fires, ice storms, and windstorms. That belongs to the county.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's no legal requirement that we even have a permit. This is Weyerhaeuser's requirement based on a contract that we are attempting to enter into.
We'd be trespassing otherwise, and we wouldn't be able to do it for the cost that we're proposing currently.
Well, unless they authorized it. But this is,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure this is their requirement. This is not a requirement for any state or federal regulation.
I am not aware of any state or federal regulation that would require this.
Okay.
This is cooperative. Does that help?
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean it wouldn't be cooperative if it was, there's like other types of DEQ regulations or permits. When I see the word permit, I think it's required because there's some environmental hazard. And that's what I'm, at the 11th hour, just trying to check off my list.
Understood. I can ask Tom, I'm sure we are, but are we obtaining all necessary state and federal permits associated with any type of timber harvesting up there?
Yes, yeah. We do that with all of our salvage and with our planned sales. And we have a permit with ODF for salvage in the parks when trees come down. So we have a standing permit for that, following all forest practice rules.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Commissioner Scholl?
Yes, I worked for Columbia Helicopters logging for some time, in my younger days. And I know if they're going to start logging tomorrow, Columbia Helicopters has already spent a good deal of money in operational planning to get going. I don't want to see this delayed, and I can tell you, Commissioner Fisher, that there's no less way to log, there's no way to log with less environmental impact than with a Boeing Vertol helicopter. I say go.
Okay. Any other comments from commissioners on this? Gary, do we need a motion?
A motion, please, yes.
I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I move to approve the road heliport use permit CL 2022-1100-1494.
Second.
Commissioner Scholl has moved we approve the road heliport use permit with Weyerhaeuser, and Commissioner Schrader has seconded that. Any further discussions? In the future, let's try to avoid any last-minute contracts. I do know it wasn't your fault, but thank you for bringing it to our attention. Tony, please call the poll.
Commissioner Scholl,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Gary, you know what? We're ahead of schedule today.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, 10 minutes left, so that's the end of my administrative report. Back to you.
Okay. Commissioners, we are a little bit ahead of schedule, and I do think if we would like to be brief, any commissioner who would like to make a comment, I know we said we'd stand down from that, but we have time to get to the luncheon. If anybody would like to say anything, Commissioner Scholl, I'll start with you.
Chair Smith, what I have to say is not pressing.
Yeah.
It's not pressing. I
Okay.
think I'll let it wait till next week.
All right, commissioners, what would you like to do?
Wait.
Wait, okay.
We're going to be communicating a lot at this.
Yeah.
We are.
Let's make an announcement, Chair Smith.
I
Would you
will.
please announce where
Yes.
people can go to listen to us talk?
Yes.
Because it's so interesting and riveting.
I think you're setting the bar kind of high. But the Board of County Commissioners will be attending our in-person State of the County luncheon at the Monarch Hotel starting at about 11:30. It is televised, I understand, Gary. I'm
Yes.
not sure what the link to that is.
It will not be televised live. It will be recorded.
It'll be recorded live. Somebody told me differently. Okay, thank you for that. That's where we're headed off to. We're all very excited because it's in person and we get to see people. Yes, thank you very much for that. With no further business before this board, we are now adjourned.